The End of Time ist das Thema von Märzmusik 2021. Wir wollen diese Geschichte der Apokalyptik verwenden als Hintergrund, um die Tür zu öffnen für Arten und Weisen des Denkens, aber auch Arten und Weisen des Praktizierens, die Zukunft ermöglichen wollen. Environment ist jetzt die Kulmination von einem zweijährigen Arbeitsprozess von vielen Menschen. Im Kern aber stehen das Ensemble Phoenix 16 aus Berlin, das Orchester Experimentale Instrumentos Nativos aus Bolivien und Neuser Kreuser. Kurz vor der Eröffnung letztes Jahr musste das Festival abgesagt werden. Die 25 bolivianischen Musikerinnen waren daraufhin gezwungen, in Deutschland für fast 3 Monate zu bleiben. Und in dieser Zeit der Zwangsquarantäne ist eine Vielzahl von künstlerischen Arbeiten entstanden. Der Schwerpunkt Halim El-Dab setzt ein wichtiges Anliegen und Märzmusik fort in Zusammenarbeit mit Savi Contemporary, nämlich eine Arbeit gegen das Vergessen von wichtigen künstlerischen Figuren.
Halim El-Dab is an Egyptian composer who is kind of known to have created one of the earliest electroacoustic pieces of music in 1944 called Tabir al-Zar. He's a composer who has worked throughout 70 years doing research on various music across the African continent.
In working on Halim El-Dab's reading, listening to Halim El-Dab in the past years, one thing that has also become very important, especially with the practice at Savi, is not just to explore the way Halim El-Dab has been pigeonholed, that kind of genealogy that puts him within the framework of electronic music, and that should suffice. But how do we go beyond that? How do we listen intensively to his recordings around the world, to his writings, as a musicologist, as a political being?
It is about giving this person, this composer, his theories, his philosophies time. And this is something that I think is quite often very hard to realize within the grander context of quote-unquote diversity programming.
Ich möchte noch erwähnen, unsere Arbeit zu Eliane Radic.
Eliane was always spending a lot of care and time in concert to tune the music with the acoustic of the room. A room has its own acoustical properties, its own resonances, its own way to deal with the dynamics. The challenge and the finalization in a way of the piece was to tune all these characteristics together to unfold the music the best she could, to give the listener the experience of being surrounded by sound.
Afro-modernism was the way in which black people from all over the world respond to the challenges of modernity. What is the identity of contemporary music, and the extent to which that identity seems to be implicitly thought of as being a product of the white diaspora? This is something that really impoverishes the field. If we can make a place for all these people, then other people can make places as well, and we can come to a more comfortable sense of who we are. And we interrupt certain kinds of stereotypes that circulate all the time. We're going to transform contemporary music into a real world music.
Timepiece ist ein Projekt, das aufbaut auf Peter Ablingers Konzeptstück Timsong. Wir haben dazu über 50 Komponistinnen und Komponisten, Musikerinnen aus der ganzen Welt eingeladen, Kompositionen beizusteuern, Soundtracks, die laufen werden. Über 80 Berlinerinnen in Echtzeit die Zeitansagen. 27-stündige, live gesprochene Zeitansage auf einem fantastischen mechanischen Instrument der Drehbühne im großen Saal des Festspielhauses.
På tredje slag er det 23, 59, 20. På tredje slag er det 23, 59 30. På tredje slag er det 23 59 40. På tredje slag er det 23 59 50. På tredje slag er det 24 0 0.
Breathing of machines.